Yeah, I made $40 as an extra in the Invincible. Cast to coach my ass. Best way to bet the NFL is win totals. In this win projection series, you'll get to see the logic behind Big Ryan the Fat Guy's win total projections and how you can win whatever contest you decide to enter for the 2018 NFL season. Fat Guy, what was the Bills' season like last year?
Historic. They broke the curse. They made the playoffs. A miracle Hail Mary by the Bengals sent the miracle Bills to the playoffs. I mean, they fell to the Jags, but hey, they were in rebuild mode and they went 9-7 and they made the playoffs. So I'm impressed with them.
The Buffalo Bills head coach is Sean Mcdermott. In his first season with the Bills, Mcdermott went 9-7. Fat Guy, your thoughts on Mcdermott?
Fantastic. Like I said, they were rebuilding and they made the playoffs. Impressed with the Bills. No matter how they finish this year, they're trending in the right direction. They're building the roster the right way.
This will be Brian Daboll's first season as the Bills' offensive coordinator. Any thoughts on Daboll?
He's spent time around the league, most notably of the Patriots, and with Alabama in their recent championship victory. He was the offensive coordinator. I'm not really sure what to expect because he's brand new, only signing in January. But he does have some pieces to work with, but he's definitely got some challenges, more importantly, to work with.
On the defensive side is Leslie Frazier's second year as the defensive coordinator. Thoughts on Frazier?
I like Frazier. He was a former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and that defense was it was really good last year. Especially the secondary. They had all new pieces in secondary, and they were one of the best secondaries in the league.
So notable player additions is they brought in two new quarterbacks in A.J. Mccarron and Josh Allen through the draft.
Yeah, I like Josh Allen. I mean, a lot of people don't. Scored well in the Wonderlic, whatever that means. But he's got big arm talent. Obviously, they say accuracy issues. But we're really going to get a look. You can say all these things about draft picks. We're going to have to wait and see, as I like to say. But I think Josh Allen is definitely a decent pick. And even if it doesn't work out, they did mortgage their future to get him.
At running back, they added Chris Ivory.
Chris Ivory's going to be a nice compliment to LaShawn McCoy, who really had a good season last year, and I still think he has a couple good years ahead of him. Chris Ivory was healthy scratches for the most part during his time in Jacksonville. That is when they grabbed Leonard Fournette, so I think he's going to work well in Buffalo.
At center, they added Russell Bodine.
Well, this is necessity. They lost their center, Eric Wood, which we'll be coming to, so they kind of needed to, and Russell Bodine was a veteran from the Cincinnati Bengals, so it's a plug-and-play option, and I like it.
On defense, they added a few players as well. At defensive end, they added Washington Redskin Trent Murphy.
Trent Murphy is a solid player for the Skins, and it's definitely a nice addition to this defense.
They added defensive tackle Star Lutulele.
Star Lutulele played for the Panthers, and he's reunited with GM Brandon Bean and, more importantly, head coach Sean McDermott. He became expendable when the third-round pick of the same year he was drafted, Kawan Short, kind of proved to be better than him, which was surprising to everyone, including myself. But I think Star Lutulele is a quality player, and he should fit in nicely, almost like the Kyle Williams role, which how long can he actually do that for?
One of the big adds in the draft that might add right away is linebacker Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, that is a big addition, because linebacker is kind of an aging sore spot on the defense for the Bills, so this should boost that unit pretty quickly.
And also at cornerback, they added Vontae Davis.
We are kicking the corners on a guy who played on a bad team. He had a couple Pro Bowl caliber seasons not that long ago, but the drop-off in cornerback is so steep. Once you slip, you rarely regain your footing, and I'm not so sure Davis is necessarily even going to make the team. But hopefully returns to Pro Bowl form in some sort of miracle fashion, but I don't see it happening.
Now for notable player subtractions, the big one is at quarterback with Tyrod Taylor going to the Cleveland Browns.
Well, this hurts their wins for the year. It's going to be a new system with probably a rookie quarterback or a guy who really never started in A.J. Mccarron. So this team was headed on the rise, but with these losses headlined by Tyrod Taylor, I mean, they had to make the trade, but it's just going to be tough for them.
At left tackle, they lost Cordy Glenn.
Another big one, but he had a falling out with the team. Almost kind of lost his job. So the Bills suavely moved up in the draft and traded with their first round picks with the Bengals. I think this trade favors the Bengals a little bit more. I liked Glenn, but management didn't.
At center and at guard, they lost Eric Wood and Richie Incognito.
Yeah, and these are a nightmare. Incognito, yeah, he might be a bully or whatever, but he's a bully on the field, and I like that. He is a vicious, mean player, and he run blocks like you wouldn't believe. LaShawn McCoy on his Instagram feed mentioned this about how he's disappointed because Incognito really is a cog in the offensive line, and Eric Wood is a great center. So now they're losing 3 starters for an offensive line that 2 years ago were integral in the Bills leading the entire league in rushing yards.
And another notable player subtraction, which might not mean too much to them, is wide receiver Jordan Matthews.
Yeah, Jordan Matthews was part of that debacle trade between another insignificant guy to me, Sammy Watkins. And Ronald Darby is the only guy in that trade who ended up on the Eagles that actually is still on the very team that traded him. Jordan Matthews went to the Patriots. No love lost. As long as Zay Jones can stay clothed and less bloody, then they should be okay.
So at quarterback, they have A.J. Mccarron, Josh Allen, and last year's 5th-round pick, and Nathan Peterman.
I didn't mind Peterman in the preseason, but that disaster game against the Chargers, no one will forget that. Especially if you were like one of the smart guys like Big Ryan, start him in your fantasy league. That was a good move, real good move. But I don't know what to expect from this crew. It's going to really, really hurt their win totals for the season because I'm not expecting much. But if Josh Allen turns out to be a decent prospect, things are definitely on the rise in Buffalo.
And at running back, they have LaShawn McCoy and Chris Ivory. Maybe a couple snaps for Travarius Cadet on passing downs.
Yeah, it's possible. LaShawn McCoy is the workhorse. Chris Ivory can fill in nicely. I really like that grouping, especially in the outdoors. That's a well-oiled machine right there.
At receiver, they have Zay Jones and Kelvin Benjamin. They also have Andre Holmes, Jeremy Curley, Kalen Clay, Rod Streeter.
Yeah. Jag. A lot of just the guys there. They definitely can improve this group, but for now it's going to work. Kelvin Benjamin should be the number 1 receiver here. Zay Jones showed flashes, and not just to the people in his brother's apartment last year.
And then at tight end and fullback, we have Patrick DeMarco, Charles Clay, and the gloveless wonder, Nick O'Leary.
Nick O'Leary, no gloves, no undershirt, in the snow, in Buffalo, against Indy, catching balls, not dropping them. Charles Clay, he can play too. I mean, this is still just it's a whatever group. Charles Clay's all right. Phil DeMarco's a fullback, so I'm not going to rave about it.
Now moving on to the defense, this defensive line has Shaq Lawson, Kyle Williams, Adolphus Washington, Jerry Hughes, Trent Murphy, Star Lutulele. The list goes on.
There's a lot of depth there, actually. I like that defensive line. I don't know if it's like of the premier defensive lines in the NFL, but this is definitely something to work with. You can come at them every which way. They're a little bit pass rushing light, but this defense should be able to stuff the run at will.
At linebacker, they're highlighted by Tremaine Edmonds as well as Lorenzo Alexander, 5th-round pick from last year, Matt Milano, as well as Ramon Humber. You're not winning anyone over with this grouping, and this hinges on whether Tremaine Edmonds can transition to the pro game right away. This is the weakest part of the Bills' defense. Lorenzo Alexander's had good seasons, but he's just an older guy, an older veteran. I don't have as much stock in this positional grouping. At corner, they have Tre'Davious White and Vontae Davis, as well as Philip Gaines and 4th-round pick Teron Johnson. And at safety, they have Micah Hyde, Jordan Poyer, Raphael Bush, and 5th-round pick Saran Neal. Well, Jordan Poyer's a former Brown, so that already gives him a few knocks down right there. But Tre'Davious White, the 1st-round corner from last year, he was excellent. I loved this corner grouping. I like this secondary. They did very, very well last year, and they should be able to improve on that. So where's the strength of this roster? To me, it's the secondary, to be perfectly honest. Defense, obviously, as a whole, and secondary is the star of this show. They're young, they're feisty. They played really well last year. I'm looking forward to big things for them. The other thing, too, if your defensive line is good at stopping the run, and you have a good secondary, those are kind of complementary to each other. Like I said, I do wish they could get a guy that could really get after a quarterback, and they're just missing one piece to elevate this defense. But this defense is a very, very good crew. And like I said on offense, it's going to be a struggle, but if they can at least carve out one quarterback out of what they got and have some success, then things are going to look good for the Bills on the rise. But it's going to be tough this year, being that weak, or that unknown or uncertain, let's say, at the quarterback position. And what's the roster weakness? Like I said, it's quarterback and offensive line now that I realize, because they don't have the firepower they used to.
They can't run block how they could. And that's really going to hurt because you need that run game to make it easier for a quarterback situation such as this. So with a much lighter run game and an unknown quarterback situation, this is going to be a tough year for the Bills.
What's the team grade?
Well, I'm bouncing on my boys D, so a D plus it is.
Currently, we have the Bills winning 6.6 games with their schedule. The over-under has been set at 6.5, so the difference is minimal, and this is a no bet.
I know this is getting anticlimactic, guys, but you're going to have to stick with us because we want to make you the monies, so you can't just bet on everything. So, like the desert people say, a penny saved is a penny earned.
Hit the like button if you agree with Big Ryan the Fat Guy. Give us a comment below if you think we're stupid or if you want to guess the Fat Guy's weight. Subscribe for more non sequiturs and NFL projections. Get your off me.